Gary's going to think I'm talking to myself, but I'm actually filming. Here's the dough going into the cookie press for the cheese straws. Actually, that's what I should film because that's the workout and the most time-consuming part. When you get to this part, it's the easiest part. And I've already got more grated underneath there. Cindy's beautifully woven kitchen towel, which it's big enough to actually fit over my huge white bowl. Anyway, hey, I'm going to start. I've lost count of how many batches I've made, but just wanted to show you the rollout process. Okay, and see, this is heavy duty. You can't put this dough into a cake decorating thing to press out. I saw one recipe that said cut a hole in a plastic bag. I did, yeah, right. This dough is tough. It's gonna rip open any plastic bag you put it into. So let's see if I can tilt this down. Okay, here's my cookie sheet. The oven is already warmed up at 350. And this is what you do. You roll it out. Well, you squeeze it out. Alright. And you use the star attachment. Okay. And so on. And this is just the first pan. One batch usually do 3 full sheets and part of a 4th one. So, anyway, that's part of it right there. Okay, this is the fun part. You grate the cheese. This is a 16-ounce block of sharp cheddar. Okay, and you got to do it early in the morning so that it can sit with the butter and soften all day long. But this is my upper body workout for the morning, okay? Alright, this is getting you started. Okay, next step, 2½ sticks of butter. Yes, real butter, no imitation anything. And I slice it up so, number one, it's easier to mix in with the cheese when it all softens, and it softens a lot more quickly. But I probably won't start putting this dough together on this batch until around 5 this evening. So that way it sits and softens for a long time. And then you just, well, you'll see next step. If you've got kids, they'll love the next step, okay? When you squish all this stuff together. Alright. Again, that's 2½ sticks of butter and 16-ounce block of sharp cheddar cheese. Oh, and then covering it with my very special hand-woven kitchen towel. Thank you, Cindy. It's the only one big enough to fit over my big bowl. Ah, I love it. Okay, I have measured 3 cups of, well, just all-purpose flour into my sifter. Here comes the magic. 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Alright. And yes, I prefer this kind of sifter. Those other ones wore my hands out. It's like, oh man, ow. By the time you got done, this is easy. Usually my cat, hey, what? See, I can't do these without wood kind of standing guard. Waiting for a handout? Are you, Woody? Okay. Here comes his handout. He likes the cheese. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can do this with it turned around like this. There you go. Okay, enjoy. Okay. Help from the cat. Alright, so all you do now is sift this down. I won't bore you with all of that. I'll come back when the good fun starts. Okay. Okay, here's the part where I said if you have kids, you need to recruit them for this job, although it is a good workout for you. This is, alright, you've got all the butter and the grated cheese in there, and you just dig in and start squishing it all together. Yeah, I wash my hands, don't worry. But that's why you let it get out and sit out and soften all day, so you can get this part all squished together really, really good before you start adding in your 3 cups of flour that's been sifted together with a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and I use sea salt, a teaspoon of sea salt, and that's it. I mean, the ingredients of Cheesestraws are really not a lot. 16-ounce package of sharp cheddar cheese, 2.5 sticks of real butter, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. And then the fun begins. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's all creamed together. And be sure that you've already sifted your flour and everything before you start this, because it's kind of messy. So you don't want to lose any of the good stuff. Here's all I do. Alright, just in portions, you sprinkle it out over there. Okay, and don't squeeze it like this because you're going to get flour everywhere. Trust me, I've learned from experience. You kind of fold it in to begin with before you start squeezing it and getting it in there. So, and I guess you're thinking, why don't you turn off the TV and do this? Well, you know what? That's what I like about my kitchen, small and petite as it is. I can watch TV and work in my kitchen at the same time. When Gary's here, we're watching football or doing something like that. When Gary's not here, a lot of times I have music playing. So, but it's Sunday, so guess what? And Peyton's playing football. We're watching. All right.
Also, be sure your husband's eating before she starts all of this.
It's not even 6 o'clock, so he's not going to go hungry. We've got plenty of Cheesestraws, darling.
Been eating them for 2 weeks, I know.
Anyway, you just keep doing this, and again, I won't bore you with this whole process because it does take a little bit of time to get it all together, and then I will show you the finished product. Okay, it's starting to all stick together now, and see, it's not on your hands quite so bad now that you've gotten the flour in there. Good thing. Alright, and so now you just kind of keep pushing it all together. Okay. The sleeves rolled up here. Alright. And here you go. Like I said, it's a really good workout. From the grating in the morning and then the mixing later in the day. If I do 2 batches, I'll grate the cheese and cut up the butter before I go to bed at night and let it sit out overnight so that I can do one early batch, and then grate it up, start all over again, and do a later batch. Okay? If you've got more bowls and more dishes, then you can do more. Or a bigger oven. Or 2 ovens. And I love my big white bowl. You really need something like this to work in. But I've basically gotten you up to the part I've already shown you, where I'm pulling this apart and putting it into the cookie press. So, there you go. Cheese straw dough. Okay, this is the actual batch you saw me put together. And you can see, and always back off. Well, with this, you have to back off because it keeps pushing it out, and you don't want it to keep coming out. And then you straighten it up. All right. As you can see, no, nothing plastic is ever going to hold this dough. It needs to be metal and substantial. I usually get usually 15 rows on this size sheet, but you can tell it's well seasoned. I've been using this cookie sheet for, I don't know how long. But I think it just kind of adds flavor. Okay. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and you leave them in for 15 minutes. I always put the timer on. Seems to work fine. Okay, last phase. I figured I'd better show you this. Very precise, okay? No. I just take my spatula, or as I found out when I lived with Brits, this is called a fish slice. Okay, anyway. And I just separate them up like this. And that's it. Before you put them into your container. I always let them air out really well and cool off. I don't put a top down or a lid down on them. I'm just afraid. I've never had a problem with soggy cheese straws, but hey, I don't want a problem with soggy cheese straws. So here we go. This is what I put them into to cool off. Alright. Okay. Almost down to the finished product. Okay.